Welcome to the Gyrl podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible individuals who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating career moves, entrepreneurship, or personal growth, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's glow up together. All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope that you all are having a good week. I hope I hope this month is being kind to you. I hope you're taking the necessary time you need to um, take care of yourself. I know we talk a lot about it and self-care and doing things, but it is really um, weird time right now in the world, and we just need to lean into caring for ourselves and other people, checking in on people who we love, checking in on yourself, making sure you're doing things daily that that feed you, that nurture you. Um, Look, it's okay to stay informed and stay abreast of what's happening all around us every day. And but I myself am someone who is constantly like on my phone, constantly um, watching videos, watching the news, and just trying to see like what is happening. But we have to each day. Like I still have to have time where like I take a step back and just do something that fuels me. Um, People who know me know that I really enjoy things like puzzling and building miniature things. So that is an escape for me. Oftentimes, is to just go up in my library and just put something on TV and just build and I usually put my phone down, and that means I can be building for hours and not look at my phone. So even just having 2 to 3 hours away from the reality of the world that we live in is sometimes really good. So I just wanted to say that, like, just make sure you are taking a pulse on what you need. Um, Also checking in on other people, just trying to continue to find, the light, be the light, and continue to show up for yourself and take care of yourself. All right. So with that said, thank you so much for joining the show today. I'm really excited about the guests that I have today. It's someone that I actually saw on TV a few weeks ago, talking about her new book. So that was really exciting for me to be like, oh, well, I'm interviewing her. And that guest today is Oona Metz. Oona will be here to talk about her new book, Unhitched, and our topic, Unhitched and Empowered, Rebuilding After Divorce. So she is a licensed independent clinical social worker, certified group psychotherapist, author, and a speaker with more than 30 years of experience helping women navigate life's biggest transitions, especially divorce. She created a 5-phase model of divorce grief and is the author of Unhitched, a book that offers women a compassionate, practical roadmap through the emotional journey of divorce. So I'm really thrilled to have Oona join the show. So let's bring her on into the conversation. All right, welcome back, and let's welcome Oona to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. But why don't we get started first by having you tell everyone out there who you are and what you do?
Okay, great. So I live and work right outside of Boston, and I've been a therapist for about 30 years. And about 15 years ago, I decided to specialize in treating women who are going through divorce. And then a couple of years ago, I decided I had so much great information in my that saved up in my brain about the emotional journey of divorce that I decided I would write a book. And so this book, Unhitched, The Essential Divorce Guide for Women, just came out last week, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yay. Awesome. Well, we're gonna get more into your book, but let's start off by talking about you've created something that you call the five-phase model of divorce grief. So
Mhm.
can you talk about let's talk about why you created it and what it is, what that looks like.
Okay, sounds good. So, as I was writing my book, I got to this part of the book where I thought, I think it would be really useful to include kind of a map of how the journey of divorce goes. Because I know that for a lot of the clients I see in the very beginning of a divorce, or sometimes even in the middle, it can feel so terrible, right? Feels so awful and stressful. And people often worry that that's where they're gonna live forever, right? And so I thought, I really wanna provide a map for people. So I looked at all the literature, and what I saw is that a lot of people were still using the Kubler-Ross, model of grief that was developed in the 1970s, for when somebody dies. And it's a good model, but it didn't really fit for divorce. So I decided I'm gonna think about all, because 'cause I've seen literally hundreds of women through the process of divorce, so I was like, "I'm gonna think about all of those people and see what I think the model is," and that's how I really developed that model.
Mm.
Do you want me to go through the stages one by one, or
Yeah. Do you
yeah?
mind? I'm
No,
sure
I'd love to.
there might be some people out there wondering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think the first stage always starts with heartbreak. And if the divorce was initiated by your spouse, that's going to be a big heartbreak for you, right? Because you probably wanted it to keep going. And if you were the one who initiated the divorce, you only do so because of a series of heartbreaks that happen in your marriage over time. The heartbreak that happens every time you're not heard or you're not seen, or every time you're criticized, or every time your needs are not met, every time you're made to feel small, right? Because nobody decides, "Oh, well, I have a happy marriage, so I think I'll just get divorced," right? You
Right.
only do it after you've really been had a number of heartbreaks. And then I think the second stage is really the roller coaster stage. And
Mhm.
that's when you're just feeling everything, right? So you
Mhm.
feel sad, you feel mad, you feel alone, fearful, maybe confused. And that's, when the legal process is starting and it's just feels really overwhelming. But there also may be times during the roller coaster phase where you feel relieved, you know,
Mhm.
or you
Mhm.
feel a moment of empowerment or a moment of peace, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes you feel two things which are seemingly opposite at the exact same moment in time.
Mhm.
And I always like to tell people, like, that's normal, that's appropriate. Like, don't worry about that. You might be feeling so angry at your ex and missing them at the same
Mhm.
exact moment, right? And that's okay. That's all right.
Right.
So then I think after roller coaster really comes mending.
Mhm.
And roller coaster can last for quite some time, but mending comes afterwards. And I like to picture it as like you're taking a little kind of needle and thread and like mending up your heart, mending up those
Mhm.
little holes in your heart, or taking a little band-aid and putting it on your heart. You're turning your attention away from your ex and away from your divorce, and turning it either back towards yourself or maybe towards yourself for the first
Mhm.
time. 'Cause I
Mhm.
think especially for women, women are so socialized to think about everybody else's needs. What does my ex
Mhm.
need? What does my kids need? What does my boss need? And
Right.
oftentimes we come last. But in the
Mhm.
mending phase, I think it's really a time to think about what you want and what you need from life,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I think it's awesome that you're sharing this because, and this is why we love the guests that come on the show, is that you're so willing to talk about the things that you could have said, oh, yeah, just look at my book. But
Oh,
it's so,
no, I really want
it's,
yeah.
it's so awesome. And I know that you probably dig a lot deeper in the book, in these
Mhm,
areas
mhm,
so that people can learn more and see how they can apply it,
Exactly.
to their lives.
Exactly.
Something you said, Una, that I really, really liked was that, acknowledging that you can feel two things at once
Mm,
and
mhm,
sort of like that leaning into it. I know like my therapist says this all the time about like feelings. She's like, when you
mm,
feel a certain way, it's okay. Like you can sit with it, but don't let it
mhm.
like take up like permanent residence, right? But
Right,
it's
that's right.
okay to let sit with how you
Feel it.
feel and make space for it.
Yep, I always say you have to feel it to heal it, you know?
Uh-huh.
And if
Yes.
we skip over that feeling part, the feeling is gonna live someplace else in you. It's gonna live in your body. You can't just shove it under the rug and hope it's gonna go away because it's gonna pile up and come out some other way.
Mhm.
So
And I feel like your framework is super helpful because especially for women, because that is what we often do. We
right.
things happen to us and we just feel like, no,
Uh-huh.
I have to be
I
focused, I have to get back
yeah,
and keep going.
yeah,
And I don't
right.
never people never heal.
Mhm, mhm. Right, right. I think after mending, the 4th
Mhm.
stage after mending is really about letting go. And I think in a divorce, there's so many things to let go of, right? Like you're letting go of your ex, sure, in your marriage, but there's also letting go of an identity as being a married person. There's letting go of an identity of being in an intact family.
Mhm.
And those identity pieces, I think, are really important in a divorce. Um, you're also letting go of other people's narratives. I find that some women get stuck because they want their ex or they want their in laws to understand
Mhm.
their side of the story.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, you can't control what other people's think of you or your story, right? Like you can
Right.
only between you and you know what happened and you know what your truth is and you have to accept that and accept that the other people may not ever come to that. That's
Mhm.
okay. You got to let that go, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's the 4th stage and then I think the 5th stage is really about moving on. And
Mhm.
moving on doesn't mean, like, you forget you're divorced, it doesn't mean it's not part of you, it's always gonna be part of your story,
Right.
right? But it means you take that energy because there's a lot of energy you spend in an unhealthy marriage, and there's a lot of energy you spend in a divorce. So once you have all of that energy and you don't need to spend it there anymore, like, what can you do to spend it in a different way? Like, what are the things in your life that bring you pleasure, meaning, joy, right? So you take that
Mhm.
energy and move it into something, investing it in something else.
Right. I love all of those because they're so like tangible. They're so
Mhm. Yeah.
tangible and things that people can, I mean, you can actually see yourself doing each of these steps. And I think like
Yes.
especially the step where you said like being able to just let go like of that judgment
Mm.
and just being okay
Yeah.
with the fact of if they don't get your side.
That's
Like,
right. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, like if
Yep.
they don't get your
Yep.
side, like it's okay. And
Yeah.
again, and I think these are so great because it's just the things that women deal with like in everyday
Yes.
life. And I'm sitting
Yeah.
here and I'm thinking, even as a woman who's listening, maybe listening or watching us that hasn't gone through a divorce, that some of that these are so applicable to just like some
Yeah. Like,
everyday grief experiences, whether it's like people breaking up in a friendship, breaking up
right.
from a job, and all these
Yeah.
things. And it's just so like so tangible. So I really
Oh,
appreciate that and
oh,
how
great.
you walk through each stage with us.
Yeah, yeah. I just want people to not feel like they're gonna get stuck someplace, right?
Yeah.
That there is an evolution that happens. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, even
yeah,
better.
yeah,
Like that
yeah.
is like the great thing that there's an evolution, right?
Mhm.
There's a story after it. There's a testimony that you're going to be able to share. There's something you're going to be able
Yeah,
to pour into someone else to help them if they may be experiencing the same thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, oh,
There's a 6th stage, I think, really, that I didn't put in the book, and I
mhm,
think some people reach it and some people don't, but I think the 6th stage is about giving back, and that's what you're doing right now by hosting a podcast, right?
mhm,
Is you're taking your experiences, whatever experiences you've had in your life, and you're deciding, "I wanna give back. I wanna provide an opportunity for people to hear and see me and my guests and give back to the world," and that's what I did with the book too, it's just
Yeah.
so important.
Yes, I love that. Now, one thing you talked about was that finding women being able to pour into themselves and finding that identity. So, how can a woman use a divorce as an
Mhm.
opportunity to like reconnect to her own identity and rebuild that confidence?
Yeah, yeah, such a great question. I mean, one thing is I would really caution women about dating very, very quickly right after their separation or divorce, because I think one of the things that happens if you jump into another relationship is that you automatically already start thinking about that other person, right? Does that other person like me? What does that other person like to do? Oh, they like pizza. Well, I guess I'll go out to pizza with them because they like pizza. So your energy is right on the other person. So I do recommend that people spend a little bit of time on their own, kind of really reconnecting with what it is that they like, what it is that
Hmm.
they want in life. And I have a whole bunch of exercises in the group, in the book that kind of lead you through like thinking about what it is that you actually like, one of the things I even tell people is, like, take a really slow walk around the grocery store and
Uh-huh.
think about what foods do you like, not what does your ex like or what are your kids, because if you have kids, chances are you're eating, like, your kids' leftover chicken nuggets or something for dinner, right? But, like, what do you like? Maybe your kids don't like spices and you love spices, so, like, go down that spice aisle and think about what are the
Mhm.
things that really, I love.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
encourage women to make a bucket list, and
Mhm.
make a bucket list of like different columns. Like there's the free things, like,
Mhm.
oh, I never went to this park before. I've been meaning to go, right?
Right.
And what are the like things that aren't so free? Like maybe I want to take a trip to, some big
Yeah.
trip, right?
Mhm.
But and then in between and like put your bucket list up someplace where you can see it, you
Yeah,
know?
I like that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you are so right. Like taking the time to reconnect and I think that just being able to be alone and be with yourself because there's
Yes.
so many people that just seem to struggle with like being
Yeah.
with alone or it's like they always have
Mm.
people around or they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I
Mhm.
really don't like and I'm like, give me alone
Mhm.
time, please. Give me
Uh-huh.
alone time, please.
Uh-huh.
Like, I love
Yeah,
it. I
yeah,
mean, like,
yeah.
yes, I love being part of a unit and together.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I'm also an individual. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes in marriages, people tend to, first of all, it's like either sometimes when you get married first, you lose yourself in like the marriage. And then when people
Mhm.
have children, a lot of times,
Yep.
like you just mentioned, like they
Right.
completely are they've just become a mom and a wife and I'm just
Yep.
speaking from, like, a woman's point just because 'cause I'm a woman.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think people can sometimes do that, and it's really good, like you said, to take that break before you get into another
Mhm.
relationship just to fall in love with yourself in your life, and that
Yes.
bucket list that you mentioned is, like, the perfect way to do that.
Yes, yes. The other thing I always recommend people do, the first thing, is change your bedding.
Yeah.
Whether you stay in the home or you move, throw out that old bedding and get
Mhm.
some new bedding that you love, you know?
Mhm.
'Cause you probably compromised before, but get the stuff that you really loved, and if you
Right.
can, like, paint your walls. Paint your
Mhm.
walls the color that you love. Spend some time in the grocery store and the paint store figuring out what are the colors and the foods that you really love.
I like that because those are like 2 inexpensive things that you can do
Yeah,
to
yep,
just and it could have change and have like a world of like difference in your
yes,
life by just like
that's
you
right.
mentioned, just by painting, just by
Yep,
putting on new bedding. Like who would
yep,
think? But I think, yeah, I love that.
yep, yep, and
Um,
and and I'll another thing I'd say is, like, clean up your digital space too. You know,
Mm,
like if you
mhm,
have pictures on your phone that are going to make you upset, take those pictures off.
yeah,
If you're following accounts that bring you, you know, that
right,
make you upset, like unfollow those,
yeah.
So clean up your digital space too.
Awesome. I love that.
Mm.
Now speaking of that, because a lot of
Yeah.
that feels like a boundary, right? It feels like
Yes.
something, like you said, I'm not gonna follow this because it makes me feel like X.
Yep.
What boundaries are most important during and after the divorce?
Oh, such a good one. And I have an entire chapter on that because boundaries are so important. And I think it's so important to revise your boundaries, right?
Mhm,
During and after a divorce. And if you think about like when you're married, there's so few boundaries, like, right? Like your ex
mhm,
has access to, your body, your money, your home space, like so many things, your friends, your family, and so you really have to think, in terms of your ex about what boundaries you want to put in place and then how you do that, right?
mhm,
And a boundary isn't necessarily telling somebody else what they can't do, it's
mhm,
telling them what you can tolerate. So it's
mhm.
not saying you can't call me anymore, but it is saying I will not pick up the phone anymore if you call me
Right,
after 9 p.m., right?
right.
You're not
Yeah.
telling that person what they can or can't do. You're saying, I'm not going to tolerate this, right?
Yes.
And I think, people who don't get divorced, they understand that your boundaries with your ex are going to change.
Mhm.
But I think it's only when you actually get divorced that you understand boundaries with a lot of people are going to change, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
with your friends, your family,
Mhm,
your in laws, your kids, even. Um,
mhm.
and I think it's so important to figure out like, what do you want those relationships to look like? And what are you willing to tolerate or not? Because some friends and family are going to be very supportive, right?
Mhm.
And others might give you advice that you don't want. They might be critical. And you
Mhm.
might have to draw a line there and say, like, I'm going to have to hang up the phone if you're going to be critical of me or if you're
Right.
going to, undermine my decision.
Yeah. And speaking of children, I mean, it can be a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Go and any stage of the marriage, whether you've been married a short time, a long time, or whatever.
Mhm.
But how can parents support children, by giving them empathy while still trying to navigate their own feelings and needing to women needing to heal?
Yeah, that's such a good topic for us to talk about, and we could talk about that all day long, right? Because it's so
Mhm.
important that we support our kids, and I think so many women worry about their kids, and they worry about what's gonna happen when they get divorced, and I'm here to tell you that divorce it's not that divorce is good for kids, it's not good for kids, but they can tolerate it and they can manage it as long as their parents are managing it, right? And
Mhm.
so it's not good for kids to live in a home where there's a lot of conflict. Um,
Right.
so it's not that being having married parents is good and having divorced parents is bad. It's that conflict is really what's bad for kids. And
Right.
so I think as much as you can do to reduce the conflict and especially reducing conflict in front of your kids is the
Mhm.
most important thing you can do. Um, so that might mean you don't have conversation. If you're picking up your kids or dropping off your kids, it might mean that is not the time that you have conversations with your ex if that's a time that if those conversations usually lead to conflict.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and again, with that whole notion of like putting your own oxygen mask on first, like I think
Mhm.
if your kids see you being incredibly depressed after a divorce or really anxious, they're going to take that in. Right. And
Right.
so,
Mhm.
whatever you can do to support yourself so you can come to your kids as like a healthy whole person is going
Mhm.
to be what's most important for them.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, I think that's really great advice,
Yeah.
because I think it's like it's real life, and it happens, and
Mhm.
people
Yep.
do divorce, and they do need to
Yep.
figure out how to, um, coexist,
Yep. Yep.
and especially around their kids, so, thank
Yep.
you for that, and obviously, you all can read more in the book.
Mhm.
there are more tips and more information. I mean, Una's given us a lot here today in this conversation, but you need to get the book in order to get access to all the exercises and
Mhm.
just learn more. I mean, I feel like this is such a great conversation, and we know a lot of people are going through a lot of things, and a lot of times, sometimes people are, suffering in silence. And I think like a book
Yes.
like yours can really help someone feel like they're not alone. If
Yep.
perhaps if they're not ready to, maybe take the step of like actually going to therapy to talk about it, or if they don't want to
Mhm.
talk to, they don't have people who they feel in a circle that they can trust. So having a tool
Mhm.
like yours is a great partner for someone who might be wondering, like,
Yeah.
what do I
Yeah.
do? Yeah.
Right.
So
I've also filled the book with a lot of vignettes too. So stories of other women who've gone through divorce so that you can read those stories and think like, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of like her. Oh yeah, that makes sense to me. Oh yeah, that's okay. That's how so I might talk about like here's how you might put some boundaries in place and then I give you a little story. This is
love
how,
that.
Sheila put her boundaries in
Mhm,
place,
mhm,
so that you have an example. And the other thing I just wanna say is that, I recorded the book, and that was very important to me so that, because some people may not wanna have the book out on their nightstand, right?
mhm,
Or in their car when they're waiting to pick up their kids and, getting a little reading done. They might wanna have it in their earbuds so that, nobody else knows that they're listening, and so,
mhm,
that way they can buy the audiobook if they want and just listen to it on their
mhm.
own schedule.
I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, Una, why don't you tell us a few things? I know that you speak, and you have workshops and events focused on helping women through divorce. So, can you talk about some of those and how people can find them, how people can work with you, and most importantly, where can they find and buy your book?
Okay, great. Well, my book is on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble, and you can buy it online at Target and Walmart. And but I hope people will go to their independent bookstore because our independent bookstores really need us right now. So you can check with your independent bookstore. If they don't have it, they can order it for you. I have a lot of free resources on my website, which is oonametz.com. That's OONAMETZ.com. And I have a lot of podcasts that I've recorded there. I have articles, I have financial and legal resources. Um, all of the support groups that I run are in person in Boston. So if you're in Boston, give me a ring. If you're not in Boston and you want an online support group, I encourage you to go to my website and look at the resource section. I have a whole list of online support groups there. Um, and there's a bunch of events coming up. We've got an event in Boston. I'm going to be down in Durham, North Carolina on February 13th doing an anti-Valentine's Day, event. And there's an online event coming up February 24th with Fresh Starts Registry. So, anyway, you can check that all on my website, so if you wanna hear more, please check it out, and lots of things are free, so, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Una, what does it truly mean to glow up after divorce?
Oh, there's so many opportunities to glow up, and I'm so glad you brought me on today. I think divorce is always heartbreaking and stressful, but it always creates opportunities for growth, healing, and transformation. And if you do that work of grieving, you can get there too.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna slide on into three things with Una. We're gonna ask you three questions that helps our audience get to know you a little bit better. The first one is a two-parter, and one of my favorite things to ask: how do you start and end the day?
Oh, great question. I start the day playing connections with my partner. We play connections on our phone and quartiles and Squirtle. We have three word games that we play.
Mhm.
Um, and then how I end my day, I say, Alexa, play spa music. And this nice, very gentle
Mhm.
music comes on so that I can kind of drift off into sleep.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Yeah.
What's a current intention or goal that you're focusing on?
My current intention is to get more active. I have a lot of feelings about this, but I really want to get more active to help with the protests about ICE because I think what ICE is doing is really destroying our country. So,
Can feel that.
yeah.
And the last question is, where are you currently finding inspiration?
Mm. I'm gonna go right back to the protests of ICE. I think there's so much inspiration right now in our country. I think we are rising up against some really difficult things that are going on, and I love seeing people join together. I was just on um, a webinar last night with Reshma Sajani and some of the ministers and representatives in Minnesota and Gloria Steinem, and those people are doing the work and they're amazing. And I'm promising to get more active as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Una, I have to tell you, thank you so much for coming. Everyone, if you can Google this, you can go to YouTube, but make sure you go to CBS Mornings. Una was there a few weeks ago and
Uh-huh.
she's awesome. And so excited and so proud because I knew she was coming on the show. And I was like, oh
Mm.
my gosh. But if you just want to see her again and just support and get those numbers up on another platform that or is supporting her work, make sure you go there and also check it out. It's CBS Mornings, and I think you can just
Mhm.
probably Google Una
You
Metz.
could Google it. Yep.
Yeah, CBS
Yep.
Mornings. I
Exactly.
had the honor of seeing it live one the morning that it came on. I was just like, oh my God, I love this. Yes. Well,
Oh.
Una, thank you again for coming here and sharing and just for the positive thoughts and tangible like tips that you provided to the community. Before I let you go, I'd love it if you'd give our audience three things that they can take away from today's chat.
Mm. Well, the first thing I would say is don't do your divorce alone. If you are thinking about a divorce or you're going through it, please, please, please reach out for help, whether that's a therapist or a clergy or a friend or a support group. Just don't do it by yourself. It's too hard, and you deserve to be with other people. The second thing I'll say is it does get better. If you're in the beginning or the middle stages, it will get better. And hold on, follow your meaning and purpose so that you can get to the other side of it. And the third thing I will say, not prompted, is you should listen to all of these podcast episodes of the Glow Up Girl because she's amazing. You're amazing, and this show's amazing. So
Oh,
just give yourself a treat and keep on listening right here.
oh, awesome. Thank you. Well, before you go, can you hold up your book one more time for those who are
Oh,
watching?
sure.
Just
So if you insist.
Yes,
Yeah,
so just so you
there it
see, here's
is.
the book, everyone. So make sure that you go and grab it. We'll also put you can grab the link. We'll grab make sure we link out obvious and I'd love it. I'm gonna try to see if I can find some local links to drop in there. So maybe
Oh, good.
people can try it, your local
Yeah,
bookstores first. So
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
make
yeah.
sure we do that. All right,
Great.
Una, thank you, thank you, thank you again. You can always come back and share with us in the future.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a real pleasure.
Awesome. Stay tuned, everyone. Welcome, welcome back to the show. And let's thank Una again for joining the show today. What a great discussion. Again, make sure you are checking out all the links in the show notes to support her and find out more about what she does. I just love the tips that she gave. I mean, I feel like a lot of them can be applied to even people who may not be experiencing a divorce, but maybe a different type of breakup. But I felt like they were all really such good, tangible takeaways. If you like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, make sure you visit glowupgirl.com and sign up for our newsletter to get tools, insights, and inspiration as you are on that glow up journey. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. We are at Glow Up Girl. And wherever you're listening, make sure you rate, review, and share. It helps more people find the show. And if you're tagging any of our content on sharing any of our content on social, make sure you tag us. All right. If you're a brand looking to partner with us, make sure you reach out at hello@glowupgirl.com, or you can send a DM on Instagram. Promise I'll get it. All right. Thank you again to Oona. Thank you all for taking time out of your schedule, as always, to spend part of your day with me. So I will see you all next week. Until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.